Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed, fast, with surprising facts and just enough humor to keep you hooked.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're diving into something truly exciting, how we can maybe accelerate progress in the green economy and confront climate change.
Yeah, and not just through policy tweaks, but through really innovative financial solutions, things that directly impact communities like yours.
Exactly. Our deep dive today unpacks the Connecticut Green Bank's comprehensive plan covering fiscal years 2023 through 2026.
And this isn't just some dry document. It's a fascinating blueprint. It shows how a pioneering state-level entity tackles the huge task of greening its economy.
Their mission is really compelling. Basically, confront climate change by increasing and accelerating investment into Connecticut's green economy.
And the goal, striving to create more resilient, healthier, and equitable communities.
And their vision statement. It's pretty ambitious. A planet protected by the love of humanity. That's quite a North Star for a financial institution, wouldn't you say?
It absolutely is, and it really highlights the dynamic landscape they're navigating. The past few years brought these huge federal opportunities like the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, IIJA.
Right, and the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, billions for clean energy.
Billions. And the IRA's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, the GGRF, was actually modeled in part after the Green Bank itself, which is quite something.
But as the plan points out, there's been a recent shift, right? A change in the wind.
That's right. Certain federal actions have dampened investment a bit, and specific GGRF capital, money that was previously awarded to national coalitions.
Coalitions the Green Bank was part of?
Yes, some of which they were set to receive funds from.
Yeah.
That capital has actually been withheld. It's frozen, essentially, and currently subject to litigation.
Wow, okay. So that's a significant headwind.
It is, especially when you consider that electricity demand is projected to rise. I mean, really rise. The U.S. Department of Energy forecasts record consumption for 2025 and 2026.
So the need for clean, resilient energy solutions is actually more urgent than ever.
Precisely.
So our mission today is to explore how the Connecticut Green Bank, despite these challenges, is charting a clear and ambitious course, both for clean energy and this broader environmental infrastructure.
They're demonstrating a really practical model, scalable, place-based climate finance that ultimately brings tangible benefits right into your community.
All right, let's start at the beginning then. The foundation. This Green Bank idea wasn't born yesterday, was it?
Not at all. The Connecticut Green Bank was actually established way back in 2011, and importantly, on a bipartisan basis, making it the nation's first state-level green bank.
The first one. And it operates as a quasi-public agency. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it essentially blends the public mission focus of a government entity with maybe the agility and market focus of a private business. Best of both worlds, ideally.
Okay. And that model clearly worked because its mandate grew significantly.
It did. In 2021, Public Act 21-115 expanded its scope. It went beyond just clean energy to include environmental infrastructure. That was a really pivotal moment.
Why so pivotal?
It was a recognition, really, that the same innovative financial tools they'd honed for clean energy could support a much wider range of environmental sectors desperately needing investment.
So let's get specific. When they say clean energy, what are we talking about?
Think solar panels on roofs, wind power, fuel cells, home energy efficiency upgrades like insulation, or better windows, electric vehicles, EV charging stations, even things like large-scale thermal storage. It's pretty comprehensive.
Got it. And the environmental infrastructure piece, that sounds even broader.
It is. This covers essentials like water management, think clean water, stormwater waste and recycling initiatives, climate adaptation and resilience projects.
Like protecting communities from floods or extreme heat.
Exactly. Plus sustainable agriculture, conserving land, revitalizing parks and recreation areas, and even developing environmental markets like carbon offsets or valuing ecosystem services.
Wow. It's a truly holistic view of, environmental health and sustainability.
That's the idea.
It's worth noting Connecticut's history here. There's been remarkable bipartisan climate leadership. Governors Rowland, Rell, Malloy, Lamont all supported things like the 2008 Global Warming Solutions Act.
That's right. That act set ambitious emissions reduction targets way back then. The Green Bank isn't some isolated thing. It's really a product of this long-standing commitment. It shows climate solutions can cross political divides.
And that sustained support really underpins their core goals, right? What are those?
There are three main ones. First, Strategically use limited public funds to mobilize much larger amounts of private capital into Connecticut's green economy. Leverage, basically.
Okay, leverage public money for private investment. What's second?
Second is to strengthen communities, especially what they define as vulnerable communities, making sure the benefits of this green transition, cleaner air, lower energy costs, new jobs are inclusive and accessible to everyone.
Crucial point. And the third goal?
The third is about driving market transformation, changing how green investing happens, while also ensuring the green bank itself is financially sustainable. It's proving that green can be good business.
So, making environmental investments impactful and financially sound, attracting more private money over time.
Precisely. And underpinning all of this is a really critical equity commitment.
It's a 40% goal.
Yes. Across all their incentive and financing programs, they aim to direct no less than 40% of the investment and the resulting benefits to these vulnerable communities. It's a deliberate, measurable effort. Equity isn't an afterthought.
Okay, we've covered the foundation, the mission, the why. Now let's dive into the how. How does the Green Bank actually put this mission into practice? Helping people, helping businesses go green.
Right, let's look at the programs. A prime example on the residential side is their Residential Solar Investment Program, or RSIP.
The solar program, how's that done?
It deployed a huge amount of residential solar, over 378 megawatts, reaching more than 46,000 households across the state.
That's a lot of solar panels.
It is. And what's really impactful is that nearly half, almost 50% of those installations were in vulnerable communities. That shows the equity commitment isn't just talk.
That's a really significant achievement, and I understand that program is evolving now.
It is. It's transitioning to a new structure called Residential Renewable Energy Solutions, or RAS. It's tariff-based compensation.
How does that work? What's different?
Well, they've designed it carefully. It aims for a competitive rate of return for solar owners, but it also requires homeowners to do energy efficiency upgrades first through the Home Energy Solutions program.
Ah, so efficiency first, then solar. Makes sense.
Exactly. And crucially, RRES includes additional incentives specifically for low-income households and folks living in what are called distressed municipalities.
And I heard something about direct payments.
Yes, that's another key feature. Direct payments from the electric companies help reduce the risk for lenders and borrowers, especially in vulnerable communities. Makes it easier to get financed.
So better returns, efficiency required, extra help for those who need it most. What are the results?
Well, the results are pretty telling. Connecticut is actually exceeding states like Massachusetts and New York in residential solar deployment on a watts per capita basis. It shows this targeted approach really works.
Okay, solar covered. What about storing that energy? Batteries.
Right, another cornerstone. Their Energy Storage Solutions, or ESS, program. This one they co-administer with the big electric companies of Vanguard and Eversource.
And the goal here is ambitious too, I hear.
Very. They're aiming for 1,000 megawatts of energy storage deployed by 2030. A gigawatt.
A gigawatt of storage. How are they doing so far?
As of early 2025, they'd already approved 747 residential battery systems, adding up to about 6.4 megawatts, and 68 larger non-residential systems, bringing in another 140 megawatts.
Yeah.
So good progress.
And the benefit isn't just backup power during outages, right?
Correct. It's twofold. Enhanced resilience, absolutely. But also reducing peak demand on the grid. That helps lower overall electric rates for all ratepayers in the long run. It smooths out the peaks and valleys.
Makes sense. Now, for families or maybe small businesses wanting to make various green improvements, not just solar or storage, what's available?
That's where the Energize CT Smarty loan comes in. This is a really clever partnership with local community banks and credit unions across Connecticut.
How does it work? How does the Green Bank help?
The Green Bank provides what are called credit enhancements. Think of things like buying down the interest rate, making the loan cheaper, or providing a loan loss reserve, which makes the bank more willing to lend.
So it de-risks the loan for the bank and makes it more affordable for the borrower.
Exactly. For clean energy improvements, energy efficiency, and importantly, since mid-2024, it now also covers climate adaptation, resilience measures, and even water conservation measures.
Oh, interesting. So it's broadening beyond just energy.
Yes, reflecting their expanded mandate. And the impact's been significant. Nearly $195 million in total investment spurred, helping over 9,300 families make these upgrades.
That's real money making a real difference. Okay, let's shift gears from homes to bigger projects, commercial buildings, municipalities. How are they scaling up there?
A major tool here is commercial property assessed clean energy, or CPACE.
CPACE. I've heard of that. How does it work again?
It's available in over 140 participating towns in Connecticut. It lets building owners commercial, industrial, nonprofit finance, clean energy, and resilience improvements over time through a special assessment added to their property tax bill.
Ah, so the financing is tied to the property, not the owner. That seems useful if a building changes hands.
Precisely. It stays with the building, and it allows for long-term, often low-interest financing. It removes that big upfront cost barrier for things like, major HVAC upgrades, solar installations, insulation, even floodproofing.
And has CPACE been successful?
Incredibly so. It's facilitated nearly $380 million in financing for over 400 properties in Connecticut alone. It's a really popular tool.
Nearly $400 million.
Yeah.
Okay. What other tools for these larger players?
They also offer Green Bank Solar Power Purchase Agreements, or SPPAs, and solar leases. These are what's called third-party ownership structures.
Meaning the customer doesn't own the panels directly.
Right. The Green
Yeah.
Bank, or a partner, owns and maintains the system, and the customer, maybe a business, a town, a nonprofit, or an affordable multifamily building, buys the clean power generated, usually at a lower predictable rate, or they lease the system.
And that avoids upfront costs, too.
Exactly. It's another way to make solar accessible. They financed over $145 million for more than 65 megawatts of solar projects this way. And now they're strategically looking to include battery storage with these deals for added resilience.
Makes sense. What about groups that might struggle even with these options, like, say, smaller towns or affordable housing providers?
Good question. For them, there's the Solar Marketplace Assistance Program, or Solar MAP plus Russian. This provides turnkey support.
Turnkey, like they handle everything.
Pretty much. They help these underserved municipalities, state agencies, affordable housing owners overcome the common barriers, complexity, finding contractors, financing. They often bundle projects together to get economies of scale, driving down costs and simplifying the whole process.
That sounds incredibly helpful for organizations without dedicated energy staff.
It really is. And for small businesses focusing specifically on energy efficiency, there are the Small Business Energy Advantage and Business Energy Advantage programs, SBEA and BEA.
What's special about those?
The key feature is 0% on-bill financing. Businesses can pay for efficiency upgrades, better lighting, insulation, efficient equipment directly through savings on their utility bill with no interest.
0% interest paid via the utility bill. That sounds like a no-brainer.
It's very appealing. They financed over $115 million for more than 7,700 property owners this way. Just makes efficiency easy and affordable.
Okay, one more program that caught my eye. Electric school buses. That seems like a really specific focus.
It is, and it's very timely. It aligns directly with Connecticut's ambitious state goals. 100% zero-emission school buses for environmental justice communities by 2030 and for all communities by 2040.
Huge goals. How is the Green Bank helping?
They've launched a fleet electrification accelerator program. The initial focus, the first cohorts, are specifically on Connecticut's distressed municipalities, helping them make that transition.
And they provide financing?
Yes, financing for both the buses themselves, which are expensive up front, and the essential charging infrastructure needed to support them. Think about the impact on kids' health, breathing cleaner air on the way to school.
Absolutely. So looking at all these programs together, solar, storage, loans, CPACE, leases, efficiency, buses, it's quite a portfolio.
It really is. And what's truly fascinating here is how these programs aren't just about the sheer volume of deployment, the number of panels or batteries. They're also about organically building the market.
Building the market. How so?
By increasing demand, fostering local expertise, driving down costs through scale, all while consistently focusing on equitable access. They fundamentally show the ingenuity of financial tools in solving very real-world challenges. It creates this virtuous cycle of green investment.
And I imagine that creates ripple effects, like local jobs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A growing local green workforce, increased community awareness and buy-in, which then fuels even more demand. It's about market transformation.
That's a great point. Now, this next part feels like where things get even broader. The Green Bank isn't just about energy anymore, as you mentioned. What does environmental infrastructure mean for them in practice, and what new diverse challenges are they actually tackling now?
Yeah, this is a really significant and strategic expansion. And as they've dived into this new, broader territory, their work has yielded 5 key observations, sort of guiding principles.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, they see their natural role as a market intermediary. They act as a bridge, between the established capital markets and the public policy goals, for all sorts of environmental infrastructure. They're the translators, the connectors.
Makes sense. Bridging finance and policy. What's number two?
Second, they highlight a critical need for better market signals from public policy. It's not enough to just have regulations, the sticks. You also need effective carrots.
Carrots, like incentives.
Exactly. Things like maybe virtual net metering for emerging technologies or incentives for producing renewable natural gas from waste. These positive signals are crucial to unlock private capital, especially for projects with longer paybacks or newer technologies.
Okay, better signals needed. Third observation.
Third is about accessing appropriately priced capital. The Green Bank excels here. A key tool is their Green Liberty bonds. These are pretty unique because they can be repaid over incredibly long terms, sometimes 50 years.
50 years. Wow. Most bonds aren't that long.
Right. And that long horizon makes large, often slow-return environmental projects like major land conservation or resilience infrastructure financially viable, where traditional shorter-term financing just wouldn't work.
Got it. Appropriately priced long-term capital. What's number four?
Fourth emphasizes the absolute vitality of community engagement, and not just informing people. It's about genuinely empowering impacted communities, especially vulnerable ones, through deep collaborative engagement from the very beginning.
So ensuring solutions are co-created, not imposed.
Precisely. Making sure solutions fit the actual needs on the ground, build trust, and generate local buy-in. It's essential for long-term success and equity.
And the fifth observation, it relates back to equity, I imagine.
It does. It reinforces their unwavering commitment, directing no less than 40% of investment and benefits from all these new environmental infrastructure programs to vulnerable communities by the end of 2025. It's baked into the strategy from the start.
Okay, five key observations. So how do they actually approach tackling these incredibly diverse sectors, water, waste, land, etc.? What's the strategy?
It's basically a three-part strategy. First, simply expand the eligibility of their existing successful programs like the Smarty Loan and CPACE to include environmental infrastructure measures. Low-hanging fruit, in a way.
Makes sense. Leverage what works. Second part.
Second, pursue more bespoke, customized opportunities through what they call Green Bank Capital Solutions. This is for maybe larger, more complex projects that don't fit neatly into the standard programs.
Tailored financing for unique projects. And third,
Third is developing longer-term foundational strategic programs. For example, exploring things like resilience improvement districts or RIDs, which could provide dedicated funding streams for community-scale resilience projects, more systemic approaches.
okay, a multi-pronged strategy. Let's dive into some specific sectors then. Environmental markets, you mentioned carbon offsets. That sounds innovative.
It really is. They did pioneering work here. They actually developed a specific methodology. It's formally recognized under the Verified Carbon Standard program to create carbon offsets from electric vehicle charging.
So if I install EV chargers, I can earn carbon credits. How does that work?
Essentially, yes. By providing the infrastructure that enables emission reductions compared to gasoline cars, you can quantify those reductions, get them certified as carbon credits, and then sell those credits on the voluntary carbon market. It creates a new revenue stream.
Turning cleaner air into cash, basically. That's a clever incentive.
It is. And those first credits, covering activity from 2016 to 2021, were actually certified and monetized, sold in early 2023. So it's happening now.
Fascinating. Okay, what about land conservation?
Here, they're intensely focused on nature-based solutions, protecting forest lands, wetlands. These areas are vital, not just for habitat, but for soaking up greenhouse gases and building climate resilience. Think natural flood control.
And Connecticut has a specific policy goal here.
Yes, an ambitious no net loss of forest policy. But the overall conservation challenge is huge. The state aimed to conserve 21% of its land as open space by 2023.
How close are they?
Well, as of late 2019 data, they'd conserved over 510,000 acres, but that still left an estimated 160,000 acres needing protection. That could require something like $1.5 billion in investment. It's a massive undertaking.
$1.5 billion needed. Wow. How can finance help bridge that gap?
The Green Bank is exploring tools like carbon offset markets tied to forest conservation, revolving loan funds, but especially bridge loans.
Bridge loans, how do those help?
They help conservation groups, land trusts, municipalities act quickly when a critical parcel of land comes up for sale, especially land under high development pressure. These loans provide fast, short-term capital to secure the land before it's lost, bridging the gap until permanent funding is arranged.
So speed is key.
Got it.
What about parks and recreation? How does that fit into climate and environment?
Investments in parks contribute in multiple ways. Urban tree canopies cool cities and absorb carbon. Green spaces can manage stormwater runoff, improving resilience. And of course, parks profoundly impact public health and community well-being.
And there's an equity dimension here too,
A
right?
very significant one. Research highlighted in their plan from the Trust for Public Land shows a stark disparity. Parks serving low-income households are 4 times as crowded as those serving high-income households.
4 times as crowded.
And parks serving communities of color are 5 times as crowded as those serving majority white populations.
5 times? That's unacceptable. How can the Green Bank help?
They're exploring the potential for bridge lending or providing working capital specifically for high-impact community park projects, especially those aiming to address these access and equity disparities, ensuring everyone benefits from green space.
Good. Okay, shifting to agriculture. What's the challenge there?
A major issue in Connecticut is farmland loss. The state actually lost about 6% of its farmland to development between 2001 and 2016. That puts it among the top 3 states nationally for the rate of farmland loss.
Losing farms impacts local food, the economy, the landscape.
Absolutely. And the state's farmland preservation program has a long-term goal to preserve 130,000 acres. But currently, only around 49,000 acres are preserved.
So another big gap. About 81,000 acres still need protecting.
Right, requiring potentially $300 to $500 million in public investment just for preservation easements.
How is the Green Bank looking to contribute here?
They're exploring a flexible revolving loan fund structure. This could support not just land conservation, but also investments in climate-smart agriculture practices, modernizing farm infrastructure, or helping farmers generate revenue from ecosystem services, like carbon sequestration in soils.
Interesting. Supporting the whole farm ecosystem. What about water? Clean water, managing floods?
Water is tricky because of some existing legislative restrictions on how traditional water infrastructure is funded in the state. So the Green Bank is strategically focusing where it can make a difference.
Which is where?
Primarily on nature-based solutions, again, like land conservation upstream to protect water quality, and also promoting green infrastructure for stormwater management in developed areas, things like green roofs, rain gardens, permeable pavements.
And they're thinking about helping homeowners directly with water issues too.
Yes, they plan to explore what's called a linked deposit program. This is a way the Green Bank could partner with local banks, essentially making it cheaper for those banks to offer lower-cost SMART loans, specifically for resilience and water measures.
So making it more affordable for residents, especially maybe in flood-prone, vulnerable communities, to protect their homes.
Exactly, getting targeted help where it's most needed.
Okay, finally, let's talk waste and recycling. This seems like a huge, complex area.
It is. And the Green Bank is tackling 2 key challenges here. First, the looming issue of solar panel and battery storage end of life.
Right, all that clean energy equipment eventually needs to be retired. What's the scale?
It's immense. We're talking over 3.7 million solar panels and potentially a gigawatt, 1,000 megawatts of energy storage systems reaching retirement in Connecticut alone over the coming decades. Managing that is critical.
Is there a good recycling system in place?
Well, the recycling market for solar panels themselves is still pretty nascent, still developing. Battery recycling, especially for lithium-ion batteries, shows more immediate promise, but the infrastructure needs scaling up.
So what's the Green Bank's role?
They're actively exploring financing solutions, helping fund the necessary recycling infrastructure, the logistics systems to collect and transport materials, and developing the overall supply chain for reuse and recycling. It's about ensuring the clean energy transition is truly circular and sustainable.
Thinking ahead. Good. What's the second waste challenge?
Organic waste management. Food scraps, yard waste. It's a leading component of Connecticut's municipal solid waste, over 22%.
And the state wants to divert more of that from landfills.
Yes, they have ambitious diversion goals. And the urgency ramped up significantly when a major regional waste-to-energy facility, MIRA, closed recently. That eliminated nearly 1/3 of the state's capacity to process municipal solid waste, created a real crunch.
So more organic waste, less processing capacity. What are the strategies?
The Green Bank is supporting a hierarchy. First, preventing waste generation. Second, strengthening food rescue efforts to get edible food to people. And third, significantly increasing processing capacity for the remaining organic waste.
Processing capacity like composting or...
Composting, yes, but also technologies like anaerobic digestion, which can turn food waste and farm manure into biogas energy and nutrient-rich digestate fertilizer.
And have they financed projects in this area yet?
They have. Their first environmental infrastructure exclusive transaction was actually financing Bright Feeds, It's a Connecticut-based company that uses an innovative process to upcycle food waste stuff from supermarkets, etc., into a high-quality animal feed ingredient.
Upcycling food waste into animal feed, that's fascinating.
It is. It closes the loop. So you see, if we connect all these dots, water, waste, land, parks, agriculture, markets, leveraging financial innovation across these diverse sectors creates a truly holistic, interconnected approach to climate action.
It really moves beyond just megawatts in greenhouse gases.
Exactly. It's about finding sustainable economic solutions to these complex, interwoven environmental challenges, from protecting your local watershed to dealing with your food scraps.
So, what does this all mean for you, our listener? It means, it means there are tangible ways to potentially get involved and support this transformation right in Connecticut. Let's look at how this ambitious plan is funded and, crucially, how the Green Bank connects with communities and empowers individuals like you.
Right. Funding is key. The Green Bank's mission is primarily fueled by a blend of state and federal funds, plus the private capital they leverage.
Let's start with state funds. Where does that come from?
Their main state source is the System Benefit Charge, which is also known as the Clean Energy Fund, or CEF. It's a small surcharge on ratepayer electric bills, about 1 mil, which is a tenth of a cent per kilowatt hour.
Okay, a small charge on the electric bill, how much does that generate?
Roughly $25 million per year. They also receive a portion, about 23% of Connecticut's proceeds, from the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, RGGI, the cap-and-trade program for power plants in the Northeast.
Okay, so dedicated state funding streams. What about federal money? They've used that effectively before, right?
They have. They've got a great track record. For instance, they strategically repurposed just $8.2 million from the old American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, ARA funds, from back in 2009.
And what was the result?
That $8.2 million acted as a catalyst, mobilizing an impressive $232 million in private investment for clean energy projects. That's huge leverage.
Wow, $232 million from just over $8 million. That really shows the power of that catalytic public investment.
It absolutely does. And looking at current federal opportunities under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, IIJA, the Green Bank is officially recognized as a state energy financing institution, or CFI.
CFI status, what does that allow them to do?
It potentially allows them to directly access certain federal funds to augment state-administered clean energy programs. It opens up significant new avenues for scaling up their work with federal support.
Okay, now the big one, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, the GGRF from the Inflation Reduction Act, you said it was partly modeled on the Green Bank.
That's right, which speaks volumes about Connecticut's leadership. And they had initially secured significant federal funding commitments through the GGRF as a subrecipient under national awards.
How much are we talking about?
Well, commitments included $62.5 million for their project Sunbridge, focused on bringing solar to multifamily affordable housing under the Solar for All initiative.
Okay, solar for affordable housing. What else?
A potential $940 million allocation via the Justice Climate Fund under the Clean Communities Investment Accelerator, or CCIA, specifically targeting investments through minority depository institutions.
Nearly $1 billion focused on environmental justice communities through specific lenders.
And another $94 million via the Coalition for Green Capital's award under the National Clean Investment Fund, or NCIF, intended for a variety of green infrastructure projects. Huge potential sums.
Huge potential. But you mentioned earlier there's a complication here.
Yes, and this is crucial context from the plan itself. As of mid-2025, the resources that were allocated by the EPA under the previous Biden administration for those CCIA and NCIF awards are not available.
Not available. Why not?
According to the plan, those funds have been effectively frozen in bank accounts by the EPA under the current Trump administration and are subject to ongoing litigation.
Frozen and tied up in court. That's a major blow to those initiatives nationally and for Connecticut.
It represents a significant challenge and uncertainty, absolutely. But the Green Bank states very clearly in the plan that despite these headwinds, they remain undeterred in pursuing their mission with the resources they do have.
Resilience in action, I suppose. Okay, besides state and federal funds, any other sources?
Yes, they also mention other sources like charitable gifts, earnings from their own investments, and potentially accessing funding as a certified community development financial institution, or NCDFI, in the future. They're exploring multiple avenues.
Diversifying their funding. Smart. Now let's talk about strengthening the bonds with citizens. How do they connect with people like you, the listener?
This is where it gets really direct.
Yeah.
And the name of their comprehensive plan itself is a signal. Green Bonds US.
Green Bonds US. What's the message there?
It's a powerful double meaning, how green the environment bonds us, brings us together. And also, literally, about the financial bonds that connect people to these projects. The environment unites us. It's a call for unity and collective action.
That's clever. And is there actually public interest in investing in these kinds of projects?
Definitely. They cite compelling 2024 survey data. Nationally, almost 50% of people expressed interest in investing in clean water projects if they could, over 30% in waste reduction and recycling. Significant interest also in rooftop solar, land conservation, parks and recreation, all around 25%.
So people want to invest in green projects in their communities. How does the Green Bank make that possible?
Two key ways, designed for different levels of investment. First, they're award-winning Green Liberty bonds.
Green Liberty bonds. Tell me about those.
Think of them as traditional bonds, but specifically funding certified green projects and Connecticut projects supporting the goals of the Paris Agreement. They're fixed income securities, meaning they pay regular interest, and you can buy them in $1,000 minimums.
So accessible to individual investors, not just institutions. Have they been popular?
Hugely popular. A $25 million issuance drew 4 times as much demand as they could actually fulfill. People snapped them up. It shows a real appetite for direct green investment.
4 times oversubscribed. Okay, what if $1,000 is still too much for someone?
That's where Green Liberty Notes come in. These are designed for even broader accessibility. The minimum investment is just $100.
Only $100. How do they work?
They have a shorter term, typically a 1-year maturity, and you can buy them easily online through a partnership platform. It really democratizes green investing, allowing almost anyone to participate and earn a return while supporting local projects like the small business energy efficiency loans.
And have these been popular?
Absolutely. 8 out of the first 10 issuances through fiscal year 2024 sold out completely. It proves that if you make it easy and accessible, people will invest directly in their community's green future.
That's fantastic. Bonds and notes for direct investment. What about community campaigns, getting people involved on the ground?
They have a long, successful history here. Many might remember the early Solarize campaigns, town-by-town efforts that used group purchasing and community buzz to dramatically increase solar adoption.
Right. Solarize Connecticut was very visible. Are they still doing things like that?
Yes, the spirit continues. They have ongoing partnerships, for example, with the Yale School of the Environment, doing research called Seeds 3 on how to encourage co-adoption of solar, battery storage, and electric vehicles together in communities. Synergies.
Looking at the whole home energy system.
Exactly. And they work with local civic associations, nonprofits. The goal of these campaigns remains the same. Reduce barriers to adoption. That means tackling awareness gaps, making it easier to choose contractors, and ensuring financing is truly accessible and understandable.
It's clear they're focused not just on the financial engineering, but deeply on the people and communities.
That blend is key to their model.
It really is, but it brings up a critical question, especially given the funding headwinds you mentioned. How do we continue to innovate and scale these kinds of place-based efforts nationally, even globally, particularly in such a fluid political and economic landscape?
That is the core challenge, isn't it? And the Green Bank tries to address that, in part, by being incredibly rigorous about measuring its success and impact.
Yeah.
Transparency and data are key.
How do they measure success? What framework do they use?
They use what they call the 4 E's framework: economy, environment, energy, and equity. It's a holistic way to assess their performance beyond just dollars invested or megawatts deployed.
Economy, environment, energy, equity. Okay. What kind of things do they track within that?
They look at market transformation. Are they changing capital supply, consumer demand? They look at their own financial performance, naturally. And crucially, they quantify the broader societal benefits.
Can you give some specific examples of those metrics?
Sure. For economy, they estimate the jobs created: direct jobs on projects, indirect jobs in the supply chain, and induced jobs from spending those wages. They also calculate the tax revenues generated for the state and towns: income tax, corporate tax, sales tax, property tax.
So showing the economic ripple effects, what about environment?
There they measure the tangible environmental protection benefits, primarily reductions in air emissions, CO2, of course, but also pollutants like nitrogen oxides, NAx, sulfur dioxide, SO2, and particulate matter, PM2.5, that directly impact local air quality.
And they connect that to health.
Yes, under the Environment E, they also estimate public health improvements. Things like reduced hospitalizations for asthma, fewer lost work or school days due to respiratory illness, quantifying the health co-benefits of cleaner air.
That's powerful. And equity. How do they track that beyond the 40% goal?
They meticulously track progress towards that 40% investment target across all programs. They also estimate the reduction in energy burden, the percentage of household income spent on energy, specifically for families in vulnerable communities who adopt solar PV through their programs, showing direct financial relief.
Measurable impact on affordability. And energy, the last E.
That covers things like the amount of clean energy generated, energy saved through efficiency, the amount of storage deployed, the overall contribution to grid reliability and state energy goals.
It's incredibly detailed, and they make all this public.
Their commitment to transparency is really robust. They publish extensive annual comprehensive financial reports, or ACFRs, which have consistently won top awards for excellence in financial reporting. They also produce annual reports for the public, undergo audits by the state auditors of public accounts.
So multiple layers of oversight and reporting.
Yes, and they make a lot of data publicly available through state portals like Open Connecticut and Open Quasi. It builds significant public trust and accountability.
That transparency is vital. So looking ahead, are they resting on their laurels or pushing forward with new ideas?
Oh, definitely pushing forward. The plan emphasizes their continuous efforts in research and development R&D, always identifying new market opportunities, refining existing programs, and piloting innovative approaches.
Constantly innovating. What specific areas are they focused on for R&D right now?
It's a wide range. They're researching better ways to value ecosystem services, putting a dollar value on what nature provides. They're digging deeper into carbon offset markets, particularly for energy efficiency, which is complex. They're advancing resiliency efforts.
You mentioned ruggedized campaigns.
Right, exploring that as a potential adaptation of the successful solarized model, but focused on helping communities adopt measures to protect homes and infrastructure from climate impacts, like storms or heat.
Interesting. What else?
They're actively supporting the deployment of electric school buses, as we discussed, and studying the potential role of hydrogen power in Connecticut's future energy mix.
Hydrogen too. Okay.
They're also refining their impact measurement methodologies, especially for the newer environmental infrastructure sectors where data can be scarcer. Tackling those big end-of-life challenges for solar panels and batteries is a major R&D focus.
And one more thing that caught my eye, artificial intelligence, AI.
Yes, they're even exploring the opportunities and challenges presented by AI, how it might improve their own operations, enhance data analysis, or even potentially boost community engagement and outreach effectiveness. They're looking at all the tools available.
Always looking to the future. Okay, let's try to wrap this up. We've explored how the Connecticut Green Bank, really the nation's first state green bank, has evolved. It started with a clean energy focus. Now it has this comprehensive approach to environmental infrastructure.
And they really demonstrate how strategically leveraging public funds to attract private capital, combined with strong community engagement and that unwavering commitment to equity, can drive tangible, measurable progress.
Progress in confronting climate change right here, right now. It's a remarkable model for what's possible.
Even in a complex, sometimes challenging environment.
Indeed. So here's a final provocative thought for you, our listener, to consider. Given the pioneering spirit of the Connecticut Green Bank and the evolving, sometimes difficult landscape of climate finance, how might this green bank model, born and refined in one small state, serve as a blueprint? Could it accelerate community-focused climate action across very different political and economic landscapes, nationally, maybe even globally?
And maybe, what role might financial innovation, like those green Liberty notes or carbon offsets for EV charging play, in unlocking the next wave of environmental solutions? Solutions we perhaps haven't even fully imagined yet.
Plenty to think about there.
Definitely.
If you're curious to learn more about the specific programs we discussed, the detailed impact metrics, or even how you might invest directly in Connecticut's green future, we strongly encourage you to visit the Connecticut Green Bank's website.
Or you can explore the investment opportunities directly at www.greenlibertybonds.com and www.greenlibertynotes.com.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.